Okay, so welcome to the next episode of the Path Less Chosen pod, the podcast showing you the careers they don't teach you about in school. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Sol.
Looking forward to today's. So the guest is Ounsi Awit, who has founded his own football agency. And I think it's going to be quite an exciting one for some football fans. You know, he's got some serious name drops. He's met the likes of Messi, Vinicius Jr., Pep Guardiola, things like that. And he's also making his own business in a difficult industry. So I'm looking forward to it. What about you?
Yeah, and I think although I'm a massive football fan, definitely interested in the general takeaways we can get. And I think everyone else should definitely listen in for those, because I know he'll speak about kind of having a career path and doing something that's a little bit different, but also doing something a little bit different in the world that's a little bit different. So I think it's very inspiring how he's come from a different country, moved all the way over the world and still doing that. So yeah, looking forward to everything he says in the football and the non-football takeaways. I hope you echo, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, it's worth bearing in mind during this conversation that this guy is still only 24. Okay, welcome to the Path Less Chosen pod, MC. So to begin with, just give us a bit of an overview about who you are and exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. I'm a football agent, FIFA licensed football agent. I studied sport management in the UK, and I went on to do a master's in football business and management in Spain. And basically, that's where I am now. I'm the co-founder of a football agency.
So you grew up in Lebanon.
Yep.
When did it ever become a prospect that you were going to work in sports management? And did it ever appear that anyone around you was interested in that? Did you have to go on your own path to do that?
So basically, when I graduated high school, I was really passionate about football and the football world. So I wanted to be involved in this world in some kind of way. So I started to do my research, and I figured that studying sports management abroad, because this is a subject that's not present in Lebanon at all, and not even popular. So I had to leave my country and study somewhere else to get educated about this industry, and at the same time exploring the possibilities of what I could end up doing after I finish my degree. But yeah, in the back of my head, being a football agent was always there, but I had difficulty to know how to start, because as you know, it's not the usual 9-to-5 job for a person who wants to become a football agent. So yeah, basically when I graduated high school, I decided to go study sports management in the UK. And as soon as I left, I knew that studying alone will not do the job. I needed to network, to meet people, to gain some experience. And that's what I did in a couple of agencies. I went to some football agencies in different countries to do some internships and make some contacts and gain some experience.
To go into the details of that initial first step then, that's a big leap of faith. Like to leave the country you've grown up in, obviously where your family is as well, to make the decision to go and study in England. How did you find that?
Definitely. It was a huge leap of faith, because it wasn't planned in the first place. I was planning on doing a business degree here in Lebanon and see where I can end up after that. But during the summer, I thought I wanted to pursue my passion and wanted to do something that I love. And to do that, I needed to study something relatable to what what drives me and what motivates me. So it was.
What did you find were the biggest challenges during that? I guess the language barrier for one, obviously, but I know you speak 4 languages.
Yeah. The language was okay, because here in Lebanon, I studied like 4 languages in school. Wow. French, German, English, and Arabic, and quite fluent in all of them. So that wasn't quite the issue. The issue was more like the day-to-day life, and being able to fit in with a different culture, with people from different backgrounds, and also more specifically having also in mind the other part of my life, like wanting to develop myself more while also maintaining a social life at the same time. That was quite the problematic time. But yeah, I managed to keep going. And as the years went by, when I was in university, I became more and more focused on what I wanted to do, because we all know, like, when you're still young and want to go to university, all you think about is having some fun and meeting some new people. But yeah, the second year into my uni and the third year is where I got like more focused on what I wanted to do and to build on that.
Because you came over to the UK to study something which had a focus of a career.
Yeah.
How early in your university did you knuckle down and then put the social life to the side? Because I guess in England, a lot of people go to university and don't even leave university knowing what they want to do, let alone go
Yeah.
into university knowing what they want to do.
I can confidently say the first year was the only year I had a good social life, where I went out, had some friends, met some people. But at the start of the second year, I started to become more focused on what I needed to do, because I knew what the path that I wanted to take was very hard, and it needed some preparing to do, because if you don't do that work that's in parallel with university, you graduate and you end up saying like, okay, what do I have now? I have nothing. So it's the things that you do in parallel with university are the things that are going to push you when you finish.
Okay, and as someone who, obviously you both know the agency and the football world really well, but
Yeah.
you talk about pushing in that second and third year. What did that pushing actually look like?
This is a very good question, because I get a lot of questions like asking me, what do you do? Like, how do you do that? And this was a question I had also difficulty to find an answer to. I was asking like many people in my surroundings, many people who studied sports and wanted to become an agent. Like, what's the transition between university and what you want to do? How do you do that? And the simplest answer I can give you is that it's the ability to connect with a lot of people at the same time in different countries. So for me, my plus was that I was able to communicate in different languages, and that enabled me to be in touch with many people in different places, and also at the same time to create a brand to yourself, an identity, and that identity will allow you to connect with people more efficiently, because they know what you do, they know what you're focusing on, and once you build that identity that you are involved in the sports world, you are involved in the football world. Especially now using social media, which is a great tool to connect with people, that allows you to even be exposed to more people and to have efficient conversations with many people. So I would say the social networking, attending events, doing some internships to gain experience, to see how the day-to-day life of an agent is, and what needs to be done. Like most of the work is done on the phone, like connecting with people, talking with people, the keeping up to date, and
Interesting. Yeah, I know Jamie uses an excuse for being on the phone when he's just scrolling through Instagram. He says he's working. I know exactly what you mean. And just my second question on having no idea about the football industry is, you say going to these network events, going and meeting these agencies, basically a big networking bubble. And in my sort of more corporate world, that doesn't work as well. It's more of a through the official channel. So how do you physically go into networking these people? Do you message them on LinkedIn? What's the actual way of meeting these people?
I focused on many things. First, I focused on, as I told you before, on building an identity to myself using LinkedIn and Instagram. So I shared my journey as a football agent, how I started, my travels, who I'm meeting, the events I'm going to, the people I'm meeting. And at the same time, I did my research, like what kind of events I'm able to attend in order to boost my chances to meet more people. And I started to share that journey and all of that on my socials, which in turn boosted my ability to connect with even more people. So it became like a snowball effect. Like after one event, I get some opportunity from here, another opportunity from there. So it starts to build up step by step, and you can slowly see the bigger picture with time once you do small efforts and small things.
I'm interested to hear as well, because I know, as obviously from personal experience, but going to these events, some people you speak with, it's an industry where a lot of people like keeping their cards close to their chest. They like to keep their own skills, their own networks and everything, and their own knowledge to themselves. So how did you overcome that barrier, particularly obviously being at such a young age, getting these people to kind of break them down and have open conversations with them so that you can learn and improve yourself?
It's a good question. Well, you only see on Instagram what I've been able to do, but at the same time, you should also see what I've tried to do and couldn't do as well. So you should, like you do like 300 tries, and maybe half of them will succeed. So it's not only there were many setbacks, many times where I thought to myself like, okay, so what now? This job is a roller coaster of emotions. It's never like every day you're feeling like you're getting there. One day you might feel like you're finishing a deal, and the other day you feel like you have nothing. So the main thing to have in this job is to be patient, to try and go there and try to connect with people, and with time your approach to people will be better, and they will view you as an added value. And that's what I focused on improving in myself. I wanted for people to give me their time. You need to be an added value, and that's what I focused on having. And I started to meet some people, and after that, more people will be inclined to meet you when they see what kind of work you did.
So on the networking, I also have heard through Jamie that you've met quite a few cool contacts. So I don't know if you want to drop some names in, or maybe tell us how you've got to meet some of the biggest names in the world. So the stage is yours for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this was part of the process of me trying to connect with even more people, and people who have already achieved great things in the game. And I think to be seen around these people, and also not only to be seen, to be in contact with these kind of people is a really good experience, and it also helps in increasing your credibility as an agent. And that is something that really helped me. For example, I've been around the likes of Messi, Real Madrid players, different players from different teams. So I think I've been able to use my strength to my advantage, and which is the ability to connect with a lot of people. So, for example, I had to take advantage of the fact that I was Lebanese to see what kind of Lebanese people are involved in the football industry, and how I can connect with them. Maybe they could help me with my endeavor as an agent. And surprisingly, there are many Lebanese people who are involved in this sector, and I used it to my advantage, and I got closer to the environments of these types of players, closer to the people who are around these players, and that's how I got to meet a lot of them. I shared my vision, I shared what I'm trying to do, and that's how they opened the door for me. And I think whenever someone has something that he's passionate about, don't be scared to approach people. Don't be scared to share your vision with other people, because many people will open the door, and many will keep it closed, but many will open the door, and you have to take advantage of the fact that there are people who will help you. Because, as I said before, it is impossible to do this job alone. Like, whatever you do, you will always need other people who are more experienced, other people who are well connected, and you need to be close to these type of people all the time.
And tell me, what was it like meeting Messi? Was he friendly?
I mean, he's really friendly, really humble. He's even a bit shy.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's definitely like. The experience after meeting him was definitely like not something that I've never experienced. Like, I had an image of him, a different image of him before I saw him, and when I saw him, it becomes different. Like, you have the special connection, like after you meet someone, especially because like all your life you see them on TV or on the PlayStation, and now you're next to them, so you get like, oh my God, he's like really existing. So. Yeah, but he's a really nice guy and really down to earth, and that's why he's the best in the world.
So bringing that along. So you're doing this during uni. That snowball effect. What's your first step out of uni?
When I finished uni in the UK, I wanted to have the cherry on top, especially in my studies. So I decided to do a master's in Spain, master's in football business and management. And during that master's, we were exposed to many guest speakers, and on a weekly basis, speakers who were sporting directors from clubs, other agents, sports lawyers. And these are people you can stay connected to after these lectures. So, and also other students who are doing this master's. It's these places, you should take advantage of the fact not only from what you're learning from these lectures, but also the ability to take the contact, to see how you can work with them and develop that relationship to another stage where it's not only you're listening to them over university lecture, but also seeing how you can work with them, seeing how you can share your vision with them, and see how you can work with them. So that's what I focused on during my last year of study. And when I finished my master's, up until now, which is like 2 years, I dedicated all my time to travel, to meet some more people, to develop my network, and to start to build the base of my work as an agent and how I want to move forward. And that got me to where I am now.
I like with your story that you clearly have benefited a lot from going to university. We've spoken to a few guests on here where their kind of idea is that actually they either dropped out or that their benefits came from the stuff they did outside of university. Of course, alongside your studies, you were doing all the networking and all of this, but actually having that focus and going to do a sports management, sports focused degree has massively benefited you. So would you say that's a good advice, that if you can pinpoint what you want to go on to do, tailor your university degree around that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not the only way to do it, but I think it definitely helps because it keeps you focused on what you want to do, and it makes you even more educated on the sports industry in all sectors. So you become knowledgeable in all areas related to sports, while also developing yourself in the specific way that you want to. So it's always good to know what you want early on, but not all the people are able to do that, and it's totally normal. So there's not only one way to succeed, definitely. I mean, many people have it differently, but for me, the advantage for me was knowing early on like what I wanted to do and just laser focus on that. Sometimes it used to get a bit frustrating because you get these opportunities, and after these opportunities, it's like you're back to scratch and you're back to zero. What do I do now? And so I also used the university, as I told you, to not only get more knowledge and to get more educated, but to also to network more efficiently, because at the time I had had no identity, no brand identity to myself as to what I was doing. So I needed that extra push the universities gave me to be able to connect directly with these people. So when I finished my master's, I said to myself, like, this is enough studying for me. I need to take it to the next level and start to build some strong bonds with different agents, different agencies. And that was the only way I was going to make it through the path I chose, because you don't have reassurances in this pathway. It's like all based on what you do on the daily basis, all based on individual efforts. And it's not like having the reassurance of working for an agency, for example. It's like, especially let's say financially, like you're financially stable. I have my salary at the end of the month, and whatever I do in the month, I do. But that was not the way I wanted to do things. I wanted to follow my drive and my passion to do things my way and build my own ecosystem of network and people in order to work the way I wanted to. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. But it's a hustle.
Absolutely. And I think that's the next thing to go down then, is the actual route to what you're doing now. I think something with football agency is that people might watch, Jerry Maguire or some kind of, they have this dream of being a football agent. They see in the headlines these agents that make millions and millions, but you obviously know the reality of it. Speak on a little bit about that journey then into what it's been. And it's a cutthroat industry, and rather than going into a big agency and working for someone, you've gone and done something on your own. So tell us a bit about that.
It's definitely not all sunshines and rainbows. It's a very complex job actually to do, because you need to not only build strong relationships with other agents and players, but also directly with clubs. And that's the only way you can become more efficient in this industry, because if you are reliant on, let's say, 10 other intermediaries in between you and the clubs and the players, this is where many stuff can go wrong. And I mean, obviously, as anyone who just starts in this industry, he will be exposed to similar situations, but it's also important to learn from these situations and see what you can do better and how to build relationships that are more efficient and more direct with clubs and agents. And with time, you will be able to recognize people who are serious and people who just want to be there for the money, or people who just want to rip you off. This is an industry where there's a lot of people stabbing you in the back, so you need to be aware of it too. I think this is, I won't call these things negative, because you learn from them and they build you to become a good agent. So it's the process of transitioning from university to being a successful owner of an agency is is an important part where you learn a lot of stuff, you do a lot of mistakes, and you build that consistency and that patience to be able to pull through and finish deals efficiently. But I mean, it's necessity to go through that. I wouldn't say like you should be perfect everything you do.
Yeah.
You will do a lot of mistakes, and that will build you into what you will become.
So why did you decide to go on your own rather than going for more of a safety net, I guess, by getting a job with a bigger agency, which I'm sure you would have comfortably got?
I was never the type of person to sit in an office for 8 hours. That was my absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So I said, if I don't want to do that in parallel, I have to do a lot of effort and a lot of extra things to be able to do what I want to do. And which is travel around, meet some people, be free. I wanted to build my own ecosystem, as I said before, and that needed a lot of effort. Maybe it takes, as you said, it's the easier route was to go somewhere and to work with a bigger agency and go step by step from there. But I told myself, like, if I was going to work in an agency, I was going to kill my fire and my passion. And the only way I was going to do what I am doing now is to set out small goals throughout the year, and at the end of the year, you like reassess yourself and how you did things, and to build on that step by step. Yeah, that's not really easy to do. It takes a lot of patience. I would say that's the most important skill, other than communication. I would say patience, because as I told you, one day you think you have the world at your feet, and the other day, like, you're so frustrated and things don't work out your way always. But that's part of the process.
And how the hell do you go about starting your own agency? And second of all, how do you compete and how do you brand your agency versus, I don't know how many, but the tens of thousands or thousands of agencies that exist already?
I actually, through my journey after I finished university in the last 2 years, I started to meet a lot of people, and two of these people were two guys who are now co-founders with me in the agency. One of them is sports marketing, and the other is sports law. And I met them individually, not for the cause of opening an agency, but for the cause of just connecting. And on a later stage, I began to think of the idea of building an agency with three combined. So I managed to set up a meeting with the three of us together and to discuss the possibilities. It was just an idea, not even on paper, to build the agency of three co-founders where we provide services to the athletes that join combined. So, for example, when my agency signs a player, I'm the official representative of the player, and also the sports marketing guy will focus on the social media presence of the player, anything related to marketing, sponsorship, and the sports lawyer will focus on reviewing any type of contracts and the legality of things. So that's how the agency came to fruition. I managed to gather us three, and we started to discuss things step by step. We built the agency, we built the brand, and now we are functioning efficiently. We have a couple of clients on the agency, and also we are involved in many intermediation deals, and that's just the start. I mean, we officially opened the agency in the summer.
Congratulations, first of all, because I think it's funny that we call this the Path Less Chosen podcast, but I was joking with Jamie that this is almost the path less chosen of the path less chosen. Like, it's like another route away from a different route.
Nice one.
Which I love. It's very cool. But start your agency. How does money come in? What's the way you generate money?
You start making money by obviously first signing players to the agency. When you start to represent players, you start earning a percentage of their salary. And on the other hand, what you need to do is also be involved in the transfer market, and that is in collaboration with other agencies and with clubs, and the ability to complete deals. You start earning money, commission-based money, when you start to complete deals in collaboration with other agencies. So you start to see what clubs are looking for, if you can provide that kind of profile. If you don't have that profile, you collaborate with another agency to get that player. So it's just like networking 24/7, talking with players, seeing what kind of requests clubs have, and the players that are in your disposal. In any case, like in the case of your players or in the case of another agency's players. So I mean, money comes in basically using the transfer window and with intermediation deals and the player salaries. And at the same time, the other co-founders can also have their individual projects. For example, the sports marketing guy can focus on, for example, doing rebranding for some brands, sponsorships, and also consultation. That also applies for the sports lawyer who can do the same thing. So you have different types of way we can make money from all sectors, and that's good to keep the company going.
I think quite a few people listening that might have the dream of, they've not worked out playing football, they want to be a football agent.
Yeah.
They might hear you say that it's quite heavily reliant on commission, and they might take a backward step and be like, okay, that's a bit of a risk. I don't have any stability there. Is that one of the biggest challenges?
Definitely, I would say this is a challenge because you don't have the monthly salary that you would have at any other job. But I think for me, this is part of the motivation to do things full intensity and to go for it to the max, because if you do it correctly and if you are able to pull off some things, you are more than okay living off commission based.
What other challenges did you face setting up your own agency? Have you found it hard to compete against the other big agencies?
What I focused on is I didn't look at what the other agencies were doing, because obviously they are the big sharks, they control the market. I focused on what I have at my disposal at the time being, the players that I have, the contacts that I have, and my collaborations with the different agencies I have. I only focused on that. I didn't look outside, because if you look outside, like, you will be depressed. So I suggest to just focus on yourself and focus on what you can achieve with the contacts you have made, and slowly it will build. It's not something that will happen overnight, and you have to have realistic expectations of each milestone that you complete, that it's realistic, and it will happen. It's all in the head for me. If you have it in your head, you work for it step by step, and you can achieve it.
Yeah, I love that. You talk about the big sharks. What is your agency doing? How do they compete with the big sharks?
So basically, I focused on several markets that are not, I would say, saturated by the big sharks. Markets where I can start to operate efficiently with what I have now, and started to expand from that. And specifically having collaborations with many agencies that can be considered big sharks is something that helped me. Like, instead of working against these people, you can start to think, how can I work with them in collaboration with them and add value to them, so I can push through and be able to complete some deals that are huge. So you need to find a way to get into these kind of people, into these kind of agencies, and start to collaborate with them, not necessarily to compete with them. Because at the end of the day, this job is people's job, and you need other people, you need other agencies, you need the people. So you need to be able to work with them efficiently and not against them. Because if you work against people in this job specifically, you won't be able to do anything.
I think you mentioned it very briefly earlier. It's not a normal 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the life balance that you still have to get in place. Now, obviously, I know you're into your gym and your fitness and things like that. Is that really important to you? And how do you balance that when a player might ring you at 11 p.m.?
I mean, it keeps me focused. The gym and the fitness keeps me focused, keeps me driven. It's something I was specifically into before I got into the football agency world, specifically when I was still in high school. I'm also certified as a personal trainer and a sports nutritionist. So this was my focus back then. I had my own business here in Lebanon. I had my own clientele, and that's what kept me in the sports world, and moved on onto a later stage where I focused on the agency. And that's something I have in my life now, not as a job, but as a lifestyle, as a way of living, and that keeps me focused on the day-to-day things that I need to do. Yeah.
I think people might be quite interested by the chaos of football, people calling you at any times of night. What other things do you build into your day-to-day that just help you to stay focused, but also have that downtime?
Yeah, there are the basics that I do every day. I talk to my players. I see how they're doing, how they trained. When I finish checking up with my players, I talk with the co-founders of my company, see what we have today, what kind of movement is happening today, if anything is happening on their front, to stay in the loop and at the same time to also talk with different agents on different things that I'm planning with them. And at the same time, I plan my trips. So basically, when I'm in Lebanon, I only plan my trips because I don't work in football in Lebanon at all. I didn't approach the Lebanese market. So when I'm here, I'm basically just planning, training, and relaxing with friends and family, and plan my trips. For example, now I'm leaving on Monday, so tomorrow actually, catching a flight tomorrow to go back to work for football now. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you have time for relationships, friends as well? How do you fit them all in?
I mean, it gets a bit challenging organizing all that, but at the end of the day, once you become that age, you have to set your priorities. And I would say I'm really happy with the way I'm organizing things. It's pretty balanced. For example, instead of going to the gym alone, you can go to the gym with your friends, and that's where you can see them. I would say it's really important to keep things balanced between friends, family, work, and also personal time in order to stay sane. Because if you go extreme on one end, you will go crazy.
To be in your position now, you're 23, right? We same age or 24?
24.
That is ridiculous. I honestly would have put you down as like 28, 29.
Really?
Partly because I can't grow any sort of facial hair like you got.
To got to your position, age 24, is obviously amazing in an industry that's very cutthroat, very competitive.
Yeah.
So now I'm interested to know, what are the next steps? You can put a time scale on it if you want to go 10 years, but where does 3+ and the work you're doing in football go in the future?
I would say this is the last year for me, 2024. I would say this is the last year for me where I think I will finalize the basis of my agency. I will have my clients ready, and I think by 2025 things will be definitely okay for me on every single side, like related to players, related to the financial situation, related to my presence as an agency and as an agent. I think I'm getting signs on every job that I do, on every transfer window, that things are moving, things are getting faster, things are coming easier for me, and I take these signs seriously to even improve more. Yeah, I think 3+ is already on the way, and there shouldn't be anything to stop us from what we're doing. I think we're all on the same page, working to the same goal, and I think when you have a coherent team working towards the same goal, the only way is for it to happen.
Okay, perfect. Well, as Jamie has sent you the final question, I think I get the honors of asking you. So, taking you back to a time, could be when you want, could be in university or just before you've left to the UK. If you could tell us one thing that you should do the same, one thing you should have done differently, and one thing to motivate yourself, what would they be?
One thing I do the same is basically take the same path I've chosen to take, even if it's the hard one. I'm proud that I took this step, and that's something I would definitely do the same. What I would do differently, for me, this question, I will answer it in a way like I wouldn't change anything, honestly, because without the mistakes I did during my time until now, I wouldn't have learned, I wouldn't have the skills that I have now. So I wouldn't change anything. I would keep all the experiences I had, all the ups and downs, because they are the necessity. They are the groundwork to become successful, and that's it. And what I would say to motivate myself is be patient. Patience is the most important skill for someone to work in this industry. You need to have a long breath to sustain the ups and downs. And at the end of the day, it's all coming. So be patient, be consistent, and keep up the hard work.
Fantastic. Yeah, really good answers there. I think there might be some people that will see that we say, oh, we're interviewing a football agent, and they'll be like, oh, wow, that sounds like a dream career. But everything you've given them, you've shown them that it's an unbelievable thing you can do if you're passionate about it. But also, there's tricky bits, and the reality of it might not always be as glamorous. But the way you're doing it is obviously so impressive, and you've taken a risk, and it's paying off so far, and hopefully long may it continue.
Hopefully. Thank you, man.
All right, so we've got our takeaways. I found this so interesting that with a lot of our guests, it seems to be a bit of a, we've had like Lara on who said, fuck it. We've had other people who have just done random things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas he had a very logical path.
Yeah.
And everything he did, he was patient, but he followed a step-by-step process. And yes, he obviously did different things that didn't contribute to that overall goal, but it seemed like he was very methodological in his thinking of step-by-step, this is how I'm going to become a football agent. And I liked everything was towards that goal. He didn't get distracted by anything else.
Yeah.
The patience and following the logical path would be my big takeaway from that.
Yeah, for sure. He's driven like all the other guests we've got, but he's known from quite a young age the one specific goal. So he's been driven towards something quite specific, and he's nailed it and narrowed it down and hit the target, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. All right, after you.
Okay, yeah, I think the biggest one for me was he didn't use the analogy himself, but everything he described was a bit like the iceberg analogy. He said that I made a comment about his Instagram, because on Instagram you see all these incredible names and you see the people he's meeting, like he's traveling the world doing stuff. But he actually like checked me on that and said, actually, no, but you don't see the failures. You know, he's reached out to loads of people and not got responses. He tried to do certain things that would have been cool and look great on his Instagram and made an even better brand for himself, but they didn't pay off. And he also commented that he doesn't fear those things. He's happy to make mistakes. He's happy to make failures. He would do the same thing all over again. And I think that's a great mentality, because, you know, he's hit the spot a few times and enough that his Instagram looks amazing and he's doing some great things in the industry, but he's failed, and then we just don't see that bit, but it drives him to the next step.
All right, the third one.
I thought the overarching thing that he spoke about is everything he's done has factored in or contributed towards him being an added value to someone. And it was a massive compound effect. And you mentioned it as like a snowball effect during the conversation, but everywhere he's been, everybody he's spoken to has made him a better added value, so that whenever he approaches anyone, it's going to make him look better as a candidate to be their agent or just a contact in the sports world. And I thought that was a fantastic way of going about it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And I actually wrote something down which like just adds on to that, is while recognizing your value and also recognizing your advantage for networking, because while he was networking, he also mentioned that he pinpointed the fact he was Lebanese, and he used that as a way to speak to people as well. So just realizing what you bring to networking and what you bring to a conversation with someone, how they can be either interested in you or get something off you, that's going to bring you into rooms that you wouldn't be able to get to if you're just asking for things. So
I think he spoke about it at one point that he realized very quickly in his university journey that learning wasn't going to be enough for him to be that valuable person in a room. And when he has conversations with people, he had to go out and do a lot more.
So we had following a logical path and staying patient on that path, having failures and accepting that that's necessary in achieving your end goal and your overall brand. And then lastly, looking at your USP and looking at the value you can add for networking to speak to people, and obviously mentally impressive at such a young age to do that. So yeah, still can't quite believe he was that young, but
yeah, absolutely. No, impressive guy. And he's obviously come a long way from Lebanon and making his way very well. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot more success. So it's probably good that we got him on now rather than when he's famous and doing all kinds of deals.
Good job. Enjoyed that.
Good stuff. I'll mention that everyone that listened, please subscribe and look forward to the next episode.